To mark 80 years since the liberation of Auschwitz, Holocaust survivors have been laying wreaths and lighting candles near the former camp. King Charles is also in Poland today for the commemorations, and royal editor Russell Myers is there for us. This is a very, very important day, isn't it? And actually, it's quite astonishing that no member of the royal family has actually been, but now King Charles feels so strongly he's there today.
Yeah, indeed. Good morning, Lorraine. Well, a hugely poignant moment this morning as you just saw some of the survivors laying wreaths at the Rule, where so many thousands of Jews were murdered at Auschwitz. And it will be one of several important moments today. Indeed, King Charles will make history of becoming the first British monarch to visit Auschwitz. An astonishing fact, really. The Duchess of Cornwall, the Queen, now visited at the 75th anniversary. But Charles said himself at a reception at Buckingham Palace just last week when he was meeting some Holocaust survivors, it was very important for him to be here. And I think when you look at who is here today, not only you've got the King, you've got several heads of state, members of the royal family. I've just bumped in to see Deep Khan in the hotel lobby. But it is all about the survivors and their stories. And we'll hear a lot of those stories throughout the day. And their plea, really, for us as a whole society across the world to never ever forget the horrors of the Holocaust and to make sure that they are never repeated.
No, exactly. That's why it is so very important, the events that will unfold later on today.
Yeah, hugely important. The King is going to arrive in Krakow. He'll be meeting the President of Poland. He'll be meeting some locals here in Krakow as well before travelling to Auschwitz, about an hour away from here. And what you'll see there is a gathering at the famous gate and the entrance to the former Nazi death camp. And we'll be hearing several stories from survivors. And the dwindling number of survivors from the Holocaust is really, really apparent on this 80th anniversary. Many will be visiting for the last time, some even for the first time for these commemorations. But I think when you'll see the King, it'll be very poignant and meeting those survivors that are going to take him round Auschwitz. And there's a lot to look forward to. And I think in terms of listening to their stories and hearing their pleas as well.
No, absolutely, Russell, you're right. We must never, ever, ever forget. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Ray.
And as Russell was saying, after 80 years, there are sadly few Auschwitz survivors left. But last week, 95-year-old Renee Salt visited Downing Street to share her incredible story. In just a moment, I'm going to be talking to her. Renee was just 10 years old when the Second World War began. When German officers demanded all Jewish children were handed over, Renee's mother, Sala, hid her younger sister, Stenia, under her coat. Tragically, Stenia was spotted, but Renee went unnoticed. She would never see her sister again. But a mother's love is unbreakable, and it was thanks to her protection that Renee survived Auschwitz. They were moved to Belsen and finally liberated in 1945. After moving to Paris, Renee met and fell in love with Charles, one of the first British military police officers to enter Belsen when it was liberated. They married in 1949 and ran a grocery shop in North London, going on to have 2 children and 5 grandchildren. They never spoke about the Holocaust until they returned to Auschwitz in 2005 to film a documentary. Now, at 95, it's time for Renee to share her story in her new book, A Mother's Promise. Well, Renee and her son Martin join me now. So good to speak to both of you. It really is. And Renee, your book, it's an extraordinary read, extraordinary. But it's almost like a love letter to your own mother. How would you describe what your mother was like, Renee?
She was wonderful, like any mother. She was trying to protect me all the time during the war. She was very protective towards my sister and me.
Martin, it's really interesting this, because I would imagine you found out an awful lot when you read this book.
I did. I mean, when I was a young boy, my mum and dad didn't talk about the Holocaust at all. So there was no Holocaust education in schools when I went sort of late 60s, early 70s. So I had no idea about what the Holocaust was, if it actually happened, never even heard of it. So the first I really found out about what was going on was when we went back to Germany and Poland to do a documentary.
Yes.
But even that was at a very high level. It's the book and the research that went into the book where I found out all the details that I didn't know, and even my mum didn't know.
I mean, Renee, it's quite remarkable when you actually finally were liberated. Very sadly, your mum didn't survive.
12 days after the liberation, she died. Suffered all these years, and then 12 days later, she died.
Oh, that is so, so sad, because she made it. And I think what would keep her going was the fact that she had to look after you somehow. I know you were separated, but it was the fact that she had to survive for you.
Yeah.
And
she did, yes, absolutely, yes. Yes, she held back till I was safe.
And then it was almost like her work was done.
Yeah.
You know, and she could go. Oh, it's awful. Yeah. Did you? You know, when you're so young when you're put into this situation, and it's hell on earth. Yeah. And I honestly don't know how you, as a child, managed to cope with what you must have seen and heard and smelled and experienced in that place.
It was very, very difficult. I was only just 10 years old when the Germans invaded Poland, and they came in and took over our home.
And then put you into this horrific hell that it was. Yeah. You did go back, you know. I mean, we were saying, Martin was saying that you went back to do the documentary. That must have been really incredibly difficult, Renee, to go back to somewhere where, you know, your mother had died and you'd had all these horrific experiences that I don't think any of us can really appreciate.
No, no one can appreciate it. It was they were the very difficult years.
My mum said she'd never go back to Poland ever. When the documentary was done, that was the first time she'd been back since the war. Right. And it brought all the memories back.
Once you'd left there, once you had been liberated, I know you ended up in Paris. And of course, you met the love of your life, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
You met your lovely, lovely husband. And you just, I don't know, that is an incredible love story as well. You fell in love, and of course you had your family. What's really interesting, though, was he had experienced seeing, you know, he was in Belsen, but during the liberation, he liberated Belsen, helped to do that. He's one of the few people who would understand, in a way, what you went through, Renee.
Absolutely, yes. He saw perhaps more after the liberation than I did, because I was unconscious for 10 days, and he saw everything what was happening there. He was at the liberation itself. And
the both of you, did you talk about it a lot, or was it something that you kind of just locked away?
No, we didn't talk about it. We couldn't. When my husband when he heard the name Bergen-Belsen, the tears were running down his face. He could talk about it.
Obviously, so important never to forget. I know that, you know, you were able to talk to Prince William about your story. There was an event, and there's the two of you there. And that must have been quite a remarkable conversation, Renee.
It was. And he was so nice and understanding.
And he said he was just like his mum.
Yeah. He was just like his mother.
Kind and gentle and caring.
That's lovely. That is absolutely lovely. It really is. And again, you know, a very important moment for you. After all you've gone through, Renee, and sadly we have seen a huge rise in this country of anti-Semitism, which is very disturbing. And everything you've been through, and you've said that you just want peace in the world.
That's right. People should live in peace with one another. We didn't believe after the last war that we still see so much anti-Semitism in the world. But unfortunately, it's very bad at the moment. And we can only hope that it'll get better.
I hope so, Renee, and you're certainly playing your part in making sure that it does. It's an absolute honour to talk to both of you. It really is. And I know, Renee, your book is out February the 27th. The e-book is actually out now, which is how I was able to read it. And again, I just think every single person should read this book. It's quite remarkable. And what a survivor you are. Thank you so much, both of you. I really appreciate it.
Very much.
Pleasure.
Very
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, that's a wrap for this video. We hope you enjoyed it. We have all the best moments from the show right here on the channel. And if you like this video, then we think you'll love this one. See you next time.